Why didn't Jungkook turn around when Taehyung looked up and smiled expectantly? What really happened behind their cold moment at Incheon airport that should have been warm and happy for the army? A blank stare, a hanging smile, and a step that never turns back. Is this just a misunderstanding? Or is there a deeper wound than we think? Why isn't Jungkook looking? The cold moment when Taehyung tries to smile at the airport makes ARMY flinch. It was supposed to be a day of cheers, warmth, and tears of joy. The two names that have always formed half of BTS's Pulse, Kim Taehyung and Jungkook, were finally spotted together at Incheon International Airport on July 31st, 2025. For the first time in quite a long time, the two appeared together, walking towards the plane that will take them to the United States, attending an international fashion event that has been long awaited by the global public. But why did the awaited moment turn into a big question mark and leave an emotional wound for the army? It didn't take long for the camera to capture two rigid body movements, two forced smiles, and one thing was most surprising, Taehyung's warm gaze, which Jungkook never returned. What exactly happened? Why does Jungkook look so cold, so silent, so get away? Is it just fatigue from a long trip? Or is it that? And this is what makes the fans' hearts feel like they have stopped beating. There is an emotional distance that can no longer be hidden. It was these questions that began to shake the army around the world. Because it only takes one brief moment, 1 second when Taehyung smiles a little and Jungkook walks straight without turning his head, to shatter the illusion of a perfect friendship that they had always believed was unshakable. When the video footage went viral on X, formerly Twitter, and Weverse, the emotional outburst could no longer be contained. I can't watch it again. Tae's smile looks very sincere, an army officer wrote in a bitter tone. Why isn't Jungkook even looking at her? What's wrong with them? Jungkook didn't even touch Taehyung. Usually they are always side by side, like a fire that ignites embers. This moment makes speculation explode. Many fans began to dig back into their interactions before the draft, comparing gazes at the last concert to analyzing the hidden messages in the lyrics of their respective solos. Didn't Jungkook ever write the lyrics about friends who stay away for no reason? Didn't Taehyung ever talk about losing security with the closest person? But this moment at the airport is different. This is no longer empty speculation. It's no longer just lyrics or subtle cues. This is a reality that was clearly recorded, unedited, and witnessed firsthand by dozens of people at the scene. Which hurts even more? When a reporter approached Taehyung and chatted casually, Taehyung with a soft face talked about his debut, about how much he appreciated every journalist who had accompanied him from the beginning, and even joked while taking the reporter to walk with him. On the other hand, Jungkook kept walking straight, without turning his head, without interaction, as it were. Taehyung was just a foreign silhouette by his side. How is it possible that two people who used to laugh at each other on stage, sharing microphones, clasping each other's hands in the middle of a world concert, now seem to be walking in different dimensions? Is this related to BTS's comeback being prepared for spring 2026? Some wild speculation arose. Some say that BTS's internal discussions related to the distribution of parts in the new album had heated up. Some also revealed that differences in views on solo projects and musical direction had become a trigger for minor conflicts between the members. But is that really enough to break Taehyung and Jungkook's bond? What caught the most attention was when Taehyung had time to look at the camera and smile a little, a smile that, according to ARMY, is an empty smile, a painful smile, the smile of someone who tries to look strong in front of a crowd. Is that smile a way to cover up the sadness of being Dequakey? Or rather, a signal that he is trying to forgive something that is not yet known to the public? HYB's own party has not yet given any statement. As usual, they let the speculation grow wild, and actually made netizens even more uneasy. No clarification, no explanation. There is only silence, silence that actually feels more painful because it seems to justify all the anxiety. And in the midst of all that, one question came up that made a lot of ARMY cry. What if this moment is the beginning of the end of a bond that has always been a pillar of emotion for BTS fans? Just imagine, they've been through so much together. Debuts under great pressure, faces criticism early in career, changes the history of K-pop, breaks through the Grammy stage, and even takes turns serving in the military with a heavy heart. But only after it's all over. They look so alien to each other. Is this a sign that the BTS world we know is slowly fading away? Some people try to calm down. Maybe Jungkook just isn't feeling well. Maybe he's under stress from the album preparations. Maybe just the wrong timing. But is it really so? If there really is nothing, why is there not even a small gesture from Jungkook? Why was he so focused on looking ahead, even when Taehyung spoke softly to reporters just a few steps away? Is this proof that their relationship isn't what it used to be? Most of the ARMY hoped this was just a misunderstanding. That maybe they're tired. That later there will be a behind-the-scenes video showing them laughing together. That there will be a live stream where they explain that all this is just a fleeting moment. But to this day, no signs of it have appeared, and the wound continues to open, gape, deepen. Because for many people, BTS is not just a music group. Taehyung and Jungkook are not just two idols. They are a symbol of true friendship, a symbol of struggle, a symbol of hope in the midst of a harsh world. When two people like them seem to drift apart, the world loses a little bit of its warmth. The question now, will they talk? Will there be an explanation? Or We have to accept that something has indeed changed, and can't all change be fixed. In a world built by fan love and a spirit of togetherness, one step without turning your head can be the beginning of a much greater loss. Jungkook may have just missed one look, but for Taehyung and for millions of ARMY, it was a world that collapsed in the blink of an eye, and when the plane takes off to take them to America, the one thing left behind at Incheon Airport is not just footsteps, but a silent wound that has not yet been healed. The plane has long disappeared from sight. The ARMY, who were still waiting behind the screens of their mobile phones, did not stop replaying the moment at the airport. I don't know how many times frame after frame has been dissected, enlarged, analyzed, just to look for one little thing that can calm the heart. A touch, a glance, a glimpse of a smile, or a hint that the two are still connected. But what was found was exactly the opposite. Distance. Cold. Quiet. Some media began to provoke deeper questions. Is Taehyung and Jungkook's friendship just a beautiful illusion that we built ourselves? Or are there invisible wounds that they have kept all this time, protected from cameras, far from the reach of fandom? Their presence at fashion shows in the United States is awaited. But the shadows of tension from Incheon Airport seemed to follow them everywhere. Even when their photos were taken by the paparazzi upon arrival at the Los Angeles airport, something still seemed strange. Taehyung is seen talking to the show's crew, his smile appearing lighter, but none of the photos show him and Jungkook sharing a room in person, and hugs, and laughing together. And Jungkook put a hand on Taehyung's shoulder like they used to. Instead, Jungkook seemed to be busy with his earphones, looking down, walking faster, and barely touching anyone around him. Even their staff seemed to be keeping their distance. This situation made many ARMY began to dig into the past. They rediscover old moments, when Taehyung calls Jungkook with a spoiled tone, when Jungkook can't stop laughing because of Taehyung's silly jokes, until when the two hug each other tightly on stage with tears in their eyes. Why does it all seem like such a distant dream? An observer of Korean pop culture stated in an interview with an online media outlet that the dynamics in a group as strong as BTS are not to be taken lightly. They're not just best friends, they're coworkers who grew up together under tremendous pressure. Sometimes, the pressure can create cracks that are getting bigger. He said, cracks. The word pierced the hearts of many soldiers. How could there be a crack after everything they went through together? However, a former staff stylist who had worked on BTS's 2023 project made a shocking statement on his anonymous account on Weverse Fan Talk. He wrote, "You don't know, behind the scenes, there's a lot of tension that's invisible. But V always tries to keep the mood. And Jungkook, sometimes he's too clingy." Although the upload was soon deleted, the screenshots were already scattered. Then came a surprising fact. One of the fans noticed that since the beginning of July 2025, Jungkook has never liked any posts related to Taehyung on Weverse or Instagram. In contrast, Taehyung is still seen giving likes to Jungkook's photos consistently. Is this a one-sided sign? Is Taehyung trying to maintain a relationship while Jungkook chooses to stay away? That night, the hashtags #ProtectTaehyung and #WhereIsTheBond started trending on X and Weverse at the same time. What's in it? Thousands of fan-edited videos show Taehyung and Jungkook's past close-ups, along with the cries of fans who feel they have lost something very dear. Their friendship is the reason I believe in true love. I lost my grip. They are my healing in dark times. If they stay away, this world feels too lonely. However, in the midst of this emotional turmoil, one video emerged that shocked everyone. A YouTube account from Japan uploaded amateur footage from a different angle at Incheon Airport, which apparently had not been spread before. In the 11-second video, Taehyung can be seen glancing at Jungkook and biting his lower lip like he's holding something, whether it's disappointment, anger, or sadness. But what's more thrilling? After a few steps, Taehyung seemed to pause, then take a deep breath, as if trying to calm down, before continuing walking again. And Jungkook still doesn't look back. The video immediately went viral, comment after comment voicing something similar. Taehyung looks devastated. Jungkook, why didn't you see him? It's not just cold, it's slicing. There have been no statements from either side yet. However, the atmosphere heated up when the Korean media began to flick the possibility that Jungkook was disappointed because of HYB's decision to give more spotlight to Taehyung's solo projects lately. Some have even cited Taehyung's viral Netflix documentary, which doesn't feature Jungkook at all, as a small trigger for the apparent freeze, and in the midst of this unconfirmed rift, the other members seemed to choose silence. Jeannie, who usually mediates, did not give any comment. Jimin, who is notoriously close to both, only wrote ambiguous messages on Weverse. Sometimes timed as separate, but an honest heart always knows where to go back. ARMY immediately speculated. Is this a veiled message for Jungkook? Or Taehyung? Or both? One thing is for sure. BTS is not doing well. And the ARMY felt it from their every breath. Some fans living in the United States, where the fashion event was held, even admitted that they saw them sitting far apart in the waiting room. Not as usual. One fan even said that Taehyung seemed to stare at Jungkook for a few seconds from a distance, but Jungkook looked down, busy with his phone. Did I ask this true? Or is it just the perception of fans being hurt? But behind all the questions, one thing is undeniable. Something has indeed changed. And that change, like an invisible blow, hit the heart of a fandom that has lived on the energy of true friendship between BTS members. Will they go back to the way they were before? Or is this the beginning of a new chapter that no longer unites all names in one bundle? We can only wait. But until when? There was one sound that flowed quietly, but slashed deep into the chest of fans. Not from a new song. Not from a live broadcast. Except for silence. Yes, Jungkook's silence, which increasingly feels like a tall, solid wall of glass, separates him from someone he used to call home. Taehyung, with his steady pace, the smile he keeps in front of the public, and the increasingly difficult-to-read look in his eyes, became a symbol of bewildering obstinacy. Many soldiers were worried about the calm, because Taehyung is not someone who is good at hiding wounds. When he is sad, he will usually look tired, his eyes are a little dim, his voice slows down. But this time it was too quiet, too much control. Too quiet. Did I ask this a sign that he has given up, or was he waiting for something, an apology that never came? Meanwhile, Jungkook seems to be busier than usual. In her short interview after attending the fashion show session, she answered all questions with short and flat answers. No jokes, no big Jungkook smile. Even when asked about BTS comeback preparations, Jungkook simply said, "We're all working hard, all focused in their own way." A sentence that sounds natural, but when juxtaposed with the current state of affairs, it feels like a slap. In their own way. Does that mean they are no longer together? And while fans were still busy analyzing Jungkook's phrases one by one, there was one more thrilling surprise. Taehyung changed his Weverse profile bio. Usually contains simple quotes or funny sentences, now just written. Sometimes, silence is the loudest scream. ARMY immediately uproar. The bio reads as a cry in silence. Many believe this is a form of expression of Taehyung's emotions that have been pent up. That the smile he shows is just a mask so that the world does not see the wound behind it. That he, who has always kept the warmth in the group, is now running out of energy. Shortly after the bio went viral, some big fan sites known to be close to V started taking down their content. One of the accounts even wrote, "We need time to understand what is happening. We don't want to make things worse by assuming, but we know Taehyung is hurt. This is no longer just an issue. This is no longer a speculation game. It's a real wound that now feels suffocating to millions of fans around the world." But out of all that noise, it was one small, anonymous account that managed to shake the fandom world even deeper. An old ARMY known by the name of Moonchild_95 shared a long thread about the theory of internal cracks in BTS that has been kept tidy. He claims that since 2023, the relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung has been shaken due to differences in principle in solo project decision-making. Taehyung wants to express himself artistically, exploratively, experimentally, even a little away from the K-pop genre. Jungkook, on the other hand, wants to keep the essence of BTS in his work. The difference in vision was initially tolerable, but it was getting longer into the distance that they're still professional in front of the camera, but behind the scenes? Said the account, they rarely spoke. Even when filming group content, staff often have to be the go-between for communication to work. The veracity of this claim has yet to be verified. But many soldiers are starting to associate it with the change in attitude they have felt over the past 2 years, and in the midst of that storm of emotions, came one gentle voice from Jimin. Through a short live broadcast without much preparation, Jimin said, "There are many things we cannot explain. But please don't hurt each other. Nobody hates anyone. We are all learning to grow, including US." His voice sounded heavy. His face looked tired. But his words, as ambiguous as they are, leave a mark that cannot be ignored. I asked Jimin defending Taehyung? Or try to calm Jungkook down? Or maybe himself? Many felt Jimin's sentence was a signal that something was out of balance in BTS's body. Something that cannot yet be revealed, but is too big to deny. The ARMY is now divided. Most called for full support for Taehyung, feeling he was a victim of the piercing, cold silence. Others try to understand Jungkook, realizing that he may just be stuck in a huge amount of pressure that he can't handle, and not a few were crying in silence, hoping that everything was just a nightmare that would end soon when they returned to Korea and sat together in one live broadcast like before. But can they go back to that point? After all, is there a we? Or they will be like many other legendary groups, who are slowly losing their light, not because of a loss of talent, but because of a loss of trust. What hurts the most is not the loss of new songs, nor the loss of variety show schedules, concerts, or content. What's most devastating is the possibility of missing the magic that has always made BTS different, a friendship that feels real. A bond that is more than just colleagues, and as the world continues to wait, the ARMY can only pin their hopes on the night sky, hoping that behind this cloud of disappointment, there are still stars that have not yet died out. Will Jungkook turn around? Will Taehyung still smile despite his broken heart? Or is it, this world must be prepared to accept that some wounds cannot be repaired with songs and tears? The days after the moment at Incheon Airport felt like weeks without color for most of the ARMY. No matter how many updates appear in the media, or how luxurious Taehyung and Jungkook look on the stage of an international fashion show, one image continues to haunt the minds of fans. Why Jungkook still not looking? The question kept spinning like an echo in an empty room, hitting the walls of hope that were beginning to crack. Even in the midst of public cheers for their collaboration with a well-known fashion brand, not a few fans are even more busy staring at the gaps between them that are no longer filled with laughter, hugs, or just warm looks. And when one of the official photos from the event was released, the anxiety peaked. The photo, which is supposed to depict the synergy of two K-pop icons, presents a real distance. In a frame that is perfect in lighting and composition, their bodies are almost 3 steps apart. No arms touching each other. There are no tangent hands. And a smile? Only on Taehyung's lips. Jungkook seemed too focused on the camera in front of him. Or perhaps, too busy avoiding the spotlight from someone he once referred to as